Are we good?
Yeah.
Welcome back to the number one podcast in the world. Today we are accompanied by Mr. Lil Draco, who is the second time on this podcast. He is actually
That's good.
Big Draco's little brother. And we have on Ray Guzman. Did I say that right?
That's correct.
Nice. How you guys doing today?
Doing good. Sunday, chilling, relaxing.
Good, bro. Oh, we're good.
How you doing, asshole?
Oh, I missed church because of you.
It's 4 o'clock. What time do you have church?
4 o'clock on the dot.
Oh, fuck, man.
Yeah,
Why because of me, though? I don't understand.
because you scheduled the podcast at 4.
This guy, he sucks. I wanted to ask, before we get started, I thought it'd be interesting. Do you guys have any special talents?
I don't know, Dre, I'll let you go first.
Well, you know, I'm a certified pilot, bro. I can fly planes. Pretty good at flying helicopters too, you know.
I don't know if I believe you.
We
You wanna
actually,
go on a helicopter ride with me,
we
bro?
actually have a pilot over there, so.
Does he look like he can fly? No, does he look like he can fly?
No, I'm just
Oh, okay. I don't know, man.
You actually
I wasn't sure, bro.
No,
That was a little weird.
I don't know if you guys want to hear my talent. I mean, I've been doing it for years, but I could take a 32-ounce beer and just chug it. So, I could do that. That's a talent, right?
Definitely a talent.
It's hard.
It's a talent in getting drunk. Does it get you there or no?
No, it doesn't do it for beer, but I don't know. It's something I've been doing for years. As you guys want to see something, especially after a few drinks, because I take down a 32-ounce.
Can you hold the mic up a little?
Absolutely. There you go.
Okay.
Perfect.
So yeah, let's talk about you a little bit. So, shoes. Like, tell us a little bit about yourself.
So, I'm Ray Guzman, right? As my AKA, my alias is PR Sneaks 23. So, I've been collecting sneakers, I would say, since 1996, right? Prior to that, I bought shoes, but I didn't collect them. So, I started collecting sneakers back in 96. I got into, I always loved the Jordan brand, the Air Jordan, the Nikes and stuff like that. And in Miami back in those days, you go to special skateboard shops, different events within the community. There were just stores, and you kind of just meet people, chill with people, meet them up, and you start talking about stuff. And there's no internet back in those days. It was just like, hey, yo, where you get your sneakers at? Yo, go over there. Downtown they have a bunch of sneaker shops. Go to the beach and check out that skate shop. And I started just collecting sneakers like that, little by little. Just bought a pair here or there, and just kept them. There's times where I stopped because of the work or school, but I never sold them. I just kind of stopped for a bit and just kept collecting. With that, I just got to know a lot of people in the community, especially in Miami, and build my brand when it comes to PR Sneaks within that. But not because I wanted to. It's just because with time and collecting sneakers, I got to know a lot of people within that sneaker realm, that community. So that's a little bit about me and how I got into sneakers, but there's a lot of more intricacies behind that, because things have changed, sneaker sales, all kinds of stuff, collecting different things, fashion with sneakers. So that kind of intertwines outside of it, but I started in that realm.
Back then, there wasn't as much as hype, I guess.
No. I mean, there's, I think just hype. The definition of hype has changed. That's all. So it was hype within the community, before sneakers mainstream right now.
Yeah,
that's what So everyone wants to be a sneakerhead. You want to have a pair of Dunks. You want to have this. Everyone just wants it. So before that didn't exist. Before it was like everyone cares. They just wear regular Nikes or New Balance, and the ones that really like whatever brand, either Nike SBs, right? Nike Dunks, Jordans, Air Max, or whatnot. They just kind of like that, and it was a small community. I think the explosion of social media took it to another level. And that's where we are now. Things have changed with that. Celebrities want to wear the latest stuff. Bad Bunny. Whoever. Whoever it is, they just want to wear dope sneakers, and everyone is influenced by that. Besides social media influencers, so people just kind of want to do that. So now it's a little bit more difficult because it's hype. And what I mean by difficult is to obtain sneakers. You can't just go to your local sneaker shop and get the dope sneakers. You got to really work harder or pay resale. You got to pay.
Yeah, I saw you posted today that you got the new Kobe's.
Yeah. So, I for example, that's a good example, right? So that just was a shock drop, what they call it. They knew more than likely they were going to drop them today because it was Gigi's birthday, right? the shoe, the Kobe, it's a tribute to, Gigi, Kobe's daughter that died with him, right? That passed away. So it's called the Mamacita, right? Mambacita.
Really?
Yeah, it's called the Mambacita. So that has a special tribute thing to it. So anyway, it dropped today, and the way it works is that you get exclusive access to the sneakers app, which is Nike's app, and if you get the access, then you're able to obtain the sneaker, right? It was only if you had access. So I was eating lunch with my kids. I was just eating lunch with them, and next thing you know, I see my phone. It says, "Hey, you have access," and you click on it, and you're good. But see, that's a lot of people didn't get those shoes. Now they resell. The resale market has them for $1,000, $1,000 plus, and the retail's $180, right? So stuff like that, you get lucky, because
Of course.
yeah, you're lucky.
I want to ask, I don't know if maybe you have an opinion on it or not, but I did see with these shoes in particular, people were talking about it, how, I don't remember her name, but Kobe's wife, do you know her name?
Yeah, Vanessa.
Oh, okay. I saw that she said that she didn't want them to come out, and that it was a design that she did make with Nike, but that they weren't supposed to release or anything. I don't know. Maybe you have an opinion on that?
Yeah, so that's the shoe they released today.
Yeah.
So months ago, a little bit after Kobe's passing, Kobe was working on a continual deal with Nike, right? So
Yeah.
Once that happened, Vanessa wanted specific guidelines in order for the Nike and Kobe brand to keep going, and they couldn't meet on an agreement with that. So she didn't. The contract, that's it. It expired. So that's it. Nike and Kobe were done with. They just came to an agreement about less than 60 days ago, and now the Nike and Kobe thing is back on, and that's why they were able to release. The shoes already was in the making. It was already done months ago. Almost a year and a half ago, but it never released because the Kobe signing was off, and Vanessa owns all that. So Vanessa now basically is the trust of the Kobe brand, and she decided not to sign with Nike because it didn't meet her specifications. So some of her specifications, I don't know all of them, but some of them were, she didn't want the shoes to be watered down, the aspect where anyone could just get them, like resellers and stuff like that, and she wanted the actual individuals that were fans to be able to obtain the shoe, for it to be more obtainable for the fans and sneaker lovers and enthusiasts. And that's why the release today, and the release that's been going on with this since Friday and Saturday, has been a little bit more specific on exclusive access, and that's by Nike supposedly giving you access depending on if you purchase a pair of Kobe's in the past. They were able to look at that through algorithms in the background and provide you with access. Now, I'm telling you all this because it's supposed to work that way. I'm hearing that it didn't work that way because I started already seeing online or on Instagram where people were saying, "Hey, I got access, but I never even purchased a pair of Kobe's." And a lot of people are pissed off about that because there's a lot of real Kobe lovers that didn't get access to it, and some did. But that was supposed to be, quote unquote, the way it's supposed to work. So, yeah.
It seems like it's all about money, though.
It's exactly all about money.
Yeah.
It's a cash grab.
Yeah, it's a cash grab.
It's like supply and demand,
But I mean,
It's basically-
what isn't about money? Let's be honest here.
Yeah, but supply and demand that's a good comment. I mean, I make that statement all the time when people go, because I get a lot of messages or people come to me and go, "Ray, why is it so difficult for me to obtain sneakers now? And why is it so difficult for me to obtain just a specific anything, when it comes to sneakers?" And I just say, because I said earlier, supply and demand. And since now it's more mainstream and it's about everyone wanting them, Nike's just going to make 150,000 pairs. So before, if a limited amount of individuals were after the 150,000 pairs, you had more to go around. But now everyone wants those. You know what I mean? So now 150,000 becomes very minimal, and now to obtain them becomes more difficult. And then because of that, you have, I don't know if you guys follow, but like, for example, the PlayStation 5 as an example.
Okay.
It came out like 2 years ago, right? You
Still
still
can't
can't
find
get
it. Yeah, that's
because
crazy.
it's the same thing. Because right now the realm is if we know you want it, there's individuals in the background that are really good with technology. They'll go out there and have bots up ready to get the PS5 as soon as it comes out. They just have money. They grab them and store them in their house or whatever and sell them, at $1,000 and $900 a pop, and they're making $200 or $300, plus, out of the shoe. So at the end of the day, they're making money out of it, and that's the same thing happens with sneakers. You get a shoe, it runs you $200, but you can resell it for $400 or $500. So everyone wants to be a reseller, and that's what causes the supply and demand shortage. To your point.
Are you simply a collector, or do you also sell shoes, make shoes, anything like that?
That's a good question. So you know, I'm more of a, I will say I'm more of a collector, you know, quasi, you know, content creator, influencer, but I'm not necessarily a reseller per se. You know what I mean? So now that doesn't mean I have not sold a pair of sneakers, right? So because now I'll get some sneakers and like I look at them and I thought I liked them, and I don't. So now they resell for $400 or $500. I'm gonna sell it, right, for and make $500. But it doesn't mean that my objective or my reasoning for getting that sneaker was to resell it. I'm more, you know, sometimes I just got sneakers and I have so many that sometimes I don't even wear them. And it's like, dude, what am I gonna do with this? You know, so sometimes I'll just go cleaning up, you know, cleaning house, and I'm like, let me just get a few of them, you know, and I'll just, you know, put them on StockX or put them on my Instagram, say if anyone wants to buy them, or, you know, that in that case. So I will sell sneakers, but my intent is not to purchase sneakers and resell.
And I also want to ask, how do you feel about all this new technology? I guess like StockX, because obviously, back in when you started in 1996, how did you go about selling shoes or buying? You said you would buy them. You go to your local shop. Was it the same thing to sell them?
That's a good question, right? So then your regular purchasing was normally done by retail, but you know you met up with individuals. Like right now, there's sneaker events all the time. You were at a sneaker event yesterday. There's sneaker events every weekend. There's big ones, small ones. So before they didn't have necessarily these big sneaker events, but they, you know, individuals gathered together just by chatter. They knew that because they were, hey, look, let's all meet up here, and they used to do sneaker trades. They're called sneaker trade pits, and you used to come in, you get your sneakers, and I don't like this one, I'll trade you two for one, and sometimes you'll grab some sales off that kind of stuff, you know, with just the local community heads, you know. So that was the way you kind of went about it. You know, that was your StockX per se. And then, you know, obviously your regular retail kind of thing. But, you know, that's evolved because there was no after resale market before in that aspect of StockX, GOAT, eBay, and then everyone else now. You know, there's resale shops in Westland Mall. There's one, and any mall that you go to, there's a resale shop. You know, there's resale shops everywhere, right? And it wasn't prevalent before. That didn't exist. It was just retail shops.
Yeah, I know people still do trades and stuff. I've even seen apps specifically made for trading, not selling, but it's very interesting. Like the community, it's definitely big.
Yeah, no, absolutely. The app that you're probably referring to is an app actually that I spoke with those with the two owners years back when they started that, and it's become pretty big. And you know, I think that has to be it because it's the only app I think around. And they had a pretty good head on the shoulders. It was two young guys just like you guys, and they were just hustling. They were like, all right, they would go to sneaker events, and they would just tell everyone what their idea was. So they created a platform to basically have a middleman, a medium, right? To say, hey, look, now it's through like a platform, right? Through an app. And they're the ones that gather. You negotiate. You say, this is two shoes are out there. You trust this medium person, and if the trade is successful and is agreed on, well, you send the shoes, right? You mail them to this medium, which is those individuals, and then they'll swap the shoes out for you and send them to you because you can't really trade. I seen that happen. Like there was a time I remember I wanted to trade some Yeezys, the Turtle Doves. I had two pairs, and I wanted to trade one for some of the shoe, but it was like someone in New York. I'm like, I'm not gonna send you the shoe. You're like, you know what I mean? Like, how am I gonna do the trade? So luckily, you know, I have a friend lives in New York, and she was able to kind of middleman that trade for me. I say, hey, look, I'll send you the shoes, whatever. She got it for me. She was coming down the next weekend, so she flew them down, and that's it. I have my shoes, but you know, now there is apps like that, and you know, the community from a sneaker standpoint, it's just, you know, it's bigger than just sneakers now. Like I said, it's not only with individuals within the sneaker community, but anyone else that wants to participate in having some dope kicks. Now, you know what I'm saying, they're part of it as well, because now you're influenced by it, and you have to be, you know, you're not going to go there and just buy a pair of Travis Scott's or some Yeezys just off anywhere. You're going to either have to go to someone that knows or go to a resale shop, right, to get them. Because you're not going to go in a Foot Locker and knock on the door and say, hey, some Yeezys, that ain't going to happen.
No, I remember when I was younger, I was very influenced by shoes. Like, all I wanted to do was buy shoes, but they were so expensive. I'm like, I can't.
It's crazy.
I was like, all these Jordans look so nice. They're like $200, $300. I'm like 13. I'm like, where am I going to get $200, $300? And ever since then, I've given up on my shoes dreams. But maybe one day I'll buy a pair of Jordans.
Yeah, listen, I was the same way. So 96 was when I graduated high school, right? So when I was in, I would say middle school and high school, there was no Jordans for me, you know? Mom was like, yo, you got to work and whatever. And, you know, it didn't work that way. You know, I just had regular Nikes, but I always remember loving, like you said, those. But I went through my ups and downs the same way. Like, I'll purchase some, and then sometimes like, yo, I got to focus on school, finishing up this, whatever, finishing up what I got to do, and then I'll come back to it. But I never gave up on it. That's the thing. You know, people go, well, I just always kept my kicks. So I moved place to place. I kept my kicks. Sometimes I even stored them. You know, I'll store them at a storage or whatever. You know what I mean? So, but as the years gone by, I kept them. I've sold some of them. I mean, yeah, let's get that straight. But I've kept my kicks little by little. So my collection has grown, but it's taken years to accomplish that.
I have seen a couple of videos of your collection on your Instagram. Where do you store them? Do you have them at home? Because that's a lot of shoes to keep at home.
Yeah, so I have a sneaker room, right? So a room that's just sneakers, right? So I store most of them there, you know, and then I have a secret little location no one knows about, you know, kind of stored away. And then I have some in my personal closet as well, up in the top, right? So yeah, I have a lot of room. So I get, you know, my wife, you know, comes down on me a lot. You know, yeah, she comes down on me. I get that argument like once every 2 or 3 months. And you got all this room for all these sneakers, you know.
And out of all those locations, where do you keep your favorite ones?
In my main room, probably the room that you saw. Right?
Okay, so, that's like white boxes and stuff?
Yeah,
okay.
Correct, right. So then I have, for example, I have these white regular container store boxes where most people have, but then I also have these light up ones. They're in the middle, right? And those are pretty cool because a lot of people in the U.S. don't have them. They're from China, and they're from a company called SubPro. They're very pricey, but I was able, you know, I did some negotiations with them in order to do some content creation for them, and they send me I don't know, I think it's 65 boxes. I'm like, that was awesome because, I mean, first of all, they're difficult to find because they light up and everything. And they have motion detectors. You just clap your hands and the whole thing lights up. So it's pretty cool. But I love them because I can showcase the ones that I love the most, right? And it doesn't fluctuate too much because at the end of the day, there's some that people are like, you love those that much? I'm like, yeah, I mean, it doesn't mean nothing to you, but it may mean to me because I have something history behind them. You know what I mean? So it works out.
You're very knowledgeable and you seem very genuinely happy talking about the shoes and stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think maybe you've influenced him in any way with the shoes and just his style or anything?
Oh, absolutely. I'm sure. You know, like I said, Draco has his own, style, which I love, and his own stuff, and he's really focused. And I'm always asking him what's going on with his life and what his focus points are. So I'm always happy when he kind of tells me that. But at the end of the day, I'm sure I have, to an extent, but
100%. Yeah. When I first started, it was back in I want to say 2017 around there. He got me one of my first pair of actual hypebeast Jordans or whatever. It was the breads, right?
Yeah.
He got me a pair of breads, and I just went from there, and it was crazy. So from there, he inspired me, and then basically, so right now where I'm at, I've just been collecting sneakers too. My collection has been building up over the years too.
Did he have anything to do with that massive red puffer jacket you have, or was that all you?
No, that was me for sure.
Yeah, that's always cool because you have your own. Everyone has their own kind of style, which is different. I love I always say the young folks up and coming because I'm always for that because everyone has their own kind of thing. As you go through it, fashion is awesome, and whatever you want to put on, I'm always cool with it, man. I'm one of those individuals. No matter my age, I'm always like, listen, if you want to wear that and rock it and you feel good in it, just rock it. Even if it's whatever it is.
Yeah.
Your collection right now, how much do you think it's worth? All your shoes.
Probably, and it all depends, right? Because it all depends on the beholder and who want to buy them. I'm going to answer your question, but I say it depends because I've asked that question's been asked before, and you can't really put a necessarily price tag because there could be someone that comes in and sees grails, quote unquote grails for them, where they feel like, hey, look, that shoe to me is worth X, and I can have several for that individual. But in all around, I will say probably it's somewhere in the maybe 400 or 500K.
Fuck.
That's a lot of fucking shoes.
Definitely can't keep all of those at home.
Yeah, but you got to remember, I have a lot of shoes too that are not worth anything. And what I mean by that is they're just, there's no hype behind them. They were bought them for 150 and they were probably worth 120. But I have shoes that are, they're probably 4K, 5K per shoe, So it all depends, right? So that's what I'm saying. I have a lot, but I think, in some shoes, there's some that, it climbs up there because of the status of the shoe, you know what I mean, with time. And then some of the sneakers, gain value through time. You don't even know. I have shoes that at one point were worth nothing to people, but then the hype of of dunks or whatever go up, and they're like, hey, those dunks were worth nothing, and now everyone wants them and they're limited. We were just talking about it at the event the other day. I was at a table, and we were looking at this guy's dunks, and he had some dunks called Heineken's, and it's Heineken because it's the Heineken color and it has the Heineken star, right? I don't have logos, a lot of logos, because I think there was not necessarily a deal with them. But those dunks Heinekens, they go, maybe for 6-7K, Sorry. And I remember, the reason I say that, I remember selling my pair, for like, $600 or something like that, like,
Damn.
Because at the time it was like, whatever, it doesn't mean much to me, and I'm like, you never know. Sometimes you let some go, sometimes you keep some, and then they grow in value. So it's just, you never know what the deal is. At the end of the day, you do it for the love of it, Some individuals that do it for the money aspect of it, because at the end of the day, it's money for a lot of individuals. Then, yeah, you have to make it's like an investment. You got to make decisions wisely. But a lot of times I don't make my decisions based on that, because I do it for the love of it. So I just do it with my heart as opposed to with my, the brain of investing.
So you would say you buy shoes more based off like the ones you like instead of the hype?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I do. I mean, there's people who say probably, Ray, stop lying, stop capping. That's not true. You know what I'm saying? Because I have hype stuff, but I like some hype stuff as well. So what do you want me to do? Like, it's hype because it's dope. That's the reason it's hype to an extent, right? So, but I do buy shoes just for the I have shoes that I wear a lot all the time. They're like New Balances, Aces, just regular Jordan Air Max. I have Sauconys. Like, I have brands. People sometimes go, I don't know. Listen. If it looks dope to me, I'm copping it. It doesn't mean that, it may not be dope to you, but if it looks dope, some people sometimes they're like, you're not even, I get invited to some type of event, or I get invited to something, and I don't wear something like with heat, and they're like, what? I'm like, well, yeah. To me, it's fire.
It's your style.
It's my style.
All right, let's take a quick pause. Unpause. What was that?
The screen was turning off, so
We paused, and you wanted to ask a question. So ask your question, Diego.
No, because I've in the Nike app, I've never had any luck. How they put these shoes out. You put like a certain bid or something, like you request them.
Right. The sneakers, you mean?
Through the sneakers app.
Right. So yeah, I mean, like, that's the deal with that is going back. I'm gonna revert back to this a lot. Okay, supply and demand. So a lot more people have the sneakers app. A lot more regular people that are just regular consumers have the sneakers app. And what they want, the shoe that you want, a lot of people also want. So that's what happens. It's like, and then with that, the app supposedly has been, manipulated enough where there's a lot of bots, where a lot of sneakers app accounts have been created, and people runs hundreds and hundreds of attempts through that. So, there's so many indications that that's what happens. So imagine now you have thousands and thousands of real individuals doing it, and plus another thousands and thousands of fake accounts they're trying to hit because someone has the technology behind getting that done. Hence to why you don't get it.
Have you ever won?
Yeah.
Really?
Yes, but percentage wise, I just won the Kobe's.
You're shooting a low percentage.
Yeah, right, correct. I'm shooting a low percentage. If you want it, use that. That's exactly right. My percentage is low to that. So there is time, and Nike's funny like that. I have friends that I've seen that you look at their stuff and they've gone 2 or 3 weeks hitting almost everything, and it puts you down, like your morale down. You're like, yo, damn, what the hell, bro? I don't hit nothing. There was a time I remember, like, I hit 2 or 3 in a row. I was feeling good, dude. I went 2 years without touching anything. At all. And then sometime about a year ago, I was on a streak too. Oh, I got the off-whites. I got this. Oh, I'm rolling. Done. I'm zeroed out into just about the past 2 weeks. I got exclusive access on Friday to some Air Maxes that I wanted, the Air Max Day ones, and I just got these right now. I just hit, but since then I haven't hit over a year. So so you go sometimes where you hit, and sometimes where you just don't. Sometimes Nike just does that. They just bless you. I don't know. It's supposed to be luck, but sometimes I'm like, it's luck. How the hell am I hitting like that 2 or 3 times, and then you just completely zero me out? You know what I mean? So, but the real reason is supply and demand. It's just too many accounts out there for the shoe, and there's not enough supply. They only do they only put on the app 70,000, 80,000, pairs. And those are good ones. Those are like, if you get some Travis Scotts or some of these limited ones, but you're getting 15,000 or 20,000 on the app, you're never going to get it.
That's what you're wearing, right? Those are Travis Scott's?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Have you ever tried your luck on the app?
I have not ever I haven't won nothing yet. I haven't got.
Damn.
Yeah, I tried to do it. You remember the shoes I was wearing the last time I was here?
Oh, that's right.
The
You told us you
shiny
ended up just
Jordans.
buying them yourself.
Yeah, I didn't get them. I was like, I had woke up. I put an alarm on my phone, everything to woke up. I was just there refreshing the page and no luck, bro. No luck. And then I tried the other Travis Scotts, the low tops, the blue ones, like the blue and white ones. Mm-hmm. You have them. Mm-hmm. And yeah, no luck on those neither. So I had to buy the ones though,
I
because
remember.
they're just too fire, bro.
I got those on the Travis Scott
Website.
So when Travis Scott releases his, he releases them through his app, not app, my apologies, but through his website, the Travis Scott. And so then I feel like you get a little luckier on there, so you kind of do like a raffle, submit it to the sneakers app. So you just kind of fill in your information, and then wait, and then in an hour they'll send you an invoice, and it works out. So I hit one time on the Travis Scott. There was some Travis Scott 6s, and whatever. I was leaving. I had to meet up with some friends, and I was at a bar. We were chilling. I forgot all about it. So I finished, and I'm going to the restroom, and I had the invoice, and I didn't check out on time, so I didn't get them. That was the worst, because I was like, whoa, that's an invoice? And I looked at it, I'm like, oh, darn. But you only have a certain amount of time. They'll send you an invoice, but you got to check out within that period of time. If you don't check out, you're done. So I was able to get them, but there you go, no checkout, because I wasn't paying attention to my phone.
I've only ever tried once, and it was with the Off-Whites. It was a couple of years ago. That was the only time I ever tried. It took me I was sitting there for like 20 minutes because it just kept loading, and I was like, okay, fuck me.
Yeah. The today's Kobe's release was a problem. Because even though he had exclusive access, which basically means that we're granting you access, here you go, you're good. It was so many individuals in there was crashing the site, so you couldn't check out. So it's like, oh, go in their site, and it was taking payment. It just kept going and going and going, and I was like, minutes are going by, and I'm like, what the hell? So, but finally, it went through. But there's so many people complaining that they had access and they couldn't check out.
Reminds me of the Doctor Strange and No Way Home movie tickets.
Oh yeah. AMC app crashes like crazy too.
Anytime a big movie releases, we'll sit, because we like the Marvel movies and stuff. We'll sit down, we'll try to get the tickets, and no luck.
It's only for Marvel movies.
Only for Marvel movies, yeah.
Like
Really?
Spider-Man was insane.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a big Marvel fan as well. I don't go on release date too much because I have to, get babysitting and stuff for my to go. But I went on the weekend after the Spider-Man one, and it was crazy as well.
Spider-Man was crazy for a while.
Yeah, so it was bananas. You have to I got tickets a week and a half in advance, and my tickets are still like up in the front, But when is that Doctor Strange?
This week on
May
5th. May 5th.
Oh,
May
May
5th.
5th.
Yeah, we're watching it Friday, right? Mm-hmm. But yeah, for example, for these tickets, I sat down the entire day. Like I was online when they released, and it gave, like you said, it gave me access. But then it wouldn't let me check out, and then for the next 3 to 4 hours for the day, I kept trying, and it just doesn't work.
And it's a specific movie theater you're trying to go to, or just
crazy,
any?
Man.
It's just whatever.
We were trying to go to Pembroke.
Oh, okay.
Just AMC.
Yeah,
because we have the AMC app.
Oh,
So yeah.
But we got the movies through elsewhere, so it was just their app. Sucks.
That sucks. That's really. I never knew that. You see what I'm saying? Like, so there's all this stuff with technology happens with anything.
Yeah,
like
for
sneakers, PlayStation, movies. I think anything. It transpires. I was so it's maybe not for this show, but I'm also a connoisseur of fine whiskeys and stuff like that, right? So it's the same thing. They release stuff, and it's like. Like if for something that's really good and like low quality, you have to sit there and try and bust your butt, and you don't get it. It's like, what's going on? It's like sneakers, I thought you could just go to your corner store and get it. No, but if it's something everyone wants, you also take the L on anything that's released.
I forgot to set the timer. Damn it.
It's okay. How do you think COVID affected the sneaker community?
A lot. So COVID is blamed. For what's going on now, for the part of the supply and demand, the involvement of sneakers. And what I mean, I'm going to go deeper in supply and demand, is there's a lot of warehouses and a lot of shutdowns overseas, and so these sneakers come from overseas, right? So, the supply chain of the sneakers getting to the U.S. has diminished a lot. So a lot of releases have been pushed back. With that being said, a lot of the local, sneaker shops they get their shoes late, or they don't get the amounts that they expect. So now it shortens the supply. Even sneakers have the same thing. For example, there was Halloween shoes that were supposed to come out on Halloween, but never got here. So they released them like 2 months ago. Right? It was a Halloween theme. They were supposed to come out in October. So it's happening a lot. So with that being said, that's affected it a lot. When COVID hit, a lot of individuals wanted to become quote unquote resellers, because again, there was where do we work, what do we do? So a lot of individuals started getting shoes and reselling them, and that caused the market to kind of escalate itself. So when COVID started, you would think, right, like, hey man, like people don't have money, whatever. No, things happen and people move things around, and there is still money, and shoes are being sold, and the prices of shoes in the aftermarket, increased a lot, So it's, just like the housing market that's increased a lot by 20 to 30% in the past 24 months, it has affected it that way as well, because again, also not enough supply.
Have you ever done a full shoe tour? Like, have you ever made a video just showing all the shoes? Kind of like those. I used to watch these videos. I think they were by MTV. What?
Stuff, like the complex videos. Like
yeah. I remember once they came to like DJ Khaled's house, and then they just go through his entire shoe collection. Have you ever done anything like that?
We did something like that on my YouTube channel.
Yeah.
We did something
on Draco's YouTube channel, we did something like that. So I'm normally against it, right? So I've had a lot of offers, and a lot of podcasts, and a lot of individuals that do interviews request that I have that done. I'm normally very secretive, where I have all my shoes, So I have like this kind of, so I'm very much like, I don't know who's going to come in, who's going to this and that. I remember with Draco, the same thing. I told him, hey, look, if you're going to do it, we got to do it like this, and I have some rules behind it. So I never really have done that per se, like 100%. I've been asked. I've done a half version of it, like, what I mean by that is, I've been able to take certain shoes and bring them out, and we could talk about them, I've had my own live stream within Instagram. I was doing it a lot at some point. I used to go live on Wednesdays at 9, and that would showcase, talk about certain sneakers, talk about what's going on in the community. I'll have guests on, and we'll talk a little bit about that as well, and, I'll showcase some shoes. But I've never done
the whole, I get you.
No.
Do you have a favorite? Like, if you had to pick one shoe, do you have a favorite?
Yeah, I do have a favorite. I would say my favorite would be the Jordan 1 Bread.
Those are like black and red, right?
Black and red.
Yeah.
It's boring. Yeah, it's just boring. yeah, it's the one that I gave.
Yeah, the
Draco,
one that you gave me.
Right?
Yeah.
So it's just because it has a lot of history behind it. By fame, it's called the band shoe because the Jordan kind of like brand really started taking off when Jordan started to wear his shoes, but it wasn't even actually the Jordan 1, it was another shoe. But anyway, started really wearing the shoe, and it was black and red. And back in the days, NBA, you needed to wear the color of your
the
jersey.
team.
And they find him. So they were finding him, and Nike said, just wear it. We're going to pay the fine.
Nice.
So he will wear it and pay the fine, and he was going against what they were doing. So imagine everyone started, all the kids, the young folks started saying, hey, man, this is pretty cool, man. We're going against, what they're saying. He's going to wear it anyway. So he was the only one wearing black and red, outside of the team uniform. Yeah, the colors were black, red, and white. But if you wore a white jersey, you couldn't wear that. Black shoes. So anyways, that caught fire, and that, so the shoe always was one of those kind of like iconic type of shoes, So since I was young, I always wanted a pair of Jordan 1 Reds. So I have every kind of like, there's different like iterations of the shoe. Like there's satin ones, there's Flyknit ones, there's patent leather ones, there's lows. There's just so many, and anytime there's one type that comes out, I'll always try to obtain that one because
of the bread
of
or
the bread,
okay,
bread,
yeah.
the bread.
I'd say I really like the 4s and the 11s, but the 11s are like probably like the most famous ones, right?
I mean, it all depends. I would say that at some point the 11s were caught fire that way. I would say right now it's not.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, at some point the 11 was really, really on fire. I would say that right now the 1 is the one for years that has been taken off. The 4 is awesome. It's one of my favorites as well. And the 3 is also. So I would say it would be the 1, 3, 4, and 11. That's what I would.
I want to ask you something because I've always.
I want to ask him.
Well, I don't care about you, okay?
But I
let
wanna
me.
ask
But
him
let me go. Let me go.
I think
and then-
mine's pretty interesting.
Go ahead. Fine.
Your house is burning down.
Oh man.
Your shoes.
I'm prepared for that. There's a preparation.
Okay, yeah, but let's say
Yes,
that preparation
yes,
is not
sprinklers.
working. Let's say that preparation is not working right now. What are you going back in to save? You know, what shoe is that? The one you said?
Oh wow, that's a damn interesting question. That's a really interesting question. Wow.
Does it have to be specifically one shoe? Or
I mean, he could grab a few boxes, but
Yeah.
he can't grab every box.
So I wouldn't. You answered the question. I wouldn't go back for that shoe. I would go back for the priciest shoe because I could always sell it and get back that shoe and more. So I would make a business decision at that time.
Let them all burn.
It's actually a good question. Yeah, because the bread is pricey now. I mean, I would say, what is the bread worth now? Whatever, $700 maybe, $750. I don't know, somewhere on the line. So, if I have a shoe that's 8, 9, 10,000, 11, whatever, I could get that 2 foot, 3, 4, 5 foot. So I'd rather I'll go back for the most expensive ones, sell them so I can get more money and start recovering from the burn down.
Which one do you think that is? Like, if your house is burning down, which shoe do you think is the most expensive one you have that you could grab without burning yourself?
the 2, the 2.
I mean, I have the Dior ones, but I don't know if I have the Yeezy Nike Yeezy ones. They're in pretty good condition, so I think it'll be somewhere between those and the Dior's that I'll save. I'm sure I'm missing some, but those will probably be the top 2 or 3.
The Dior's, those are the ones that are kind of gray and blue, right?
Like gray and white. Yeah.
Oh, gray and white. Okay.
I have bluish because of the Dior kind of
Like on the
logos in the bottom, the logo on the Nike swoosh has like bluish, but I would say primarily it's gray and white.
Can we stop and look over there? He's catching flies. He's catching. Look, it's right here. Look.
Fly catcher.
He's about to come on the podcast catching flies.
He's catching flies over there.
Time out while he catches the fly. There you go.
You got it? Oh, wow. That was nice.
Okay.
That's funny. No, we have a lot of flies in here. We leave that door open too much.
Yeah.
But what I was going to ask, what's the difference between the... Oh, there's another one.
There's another one right here.
We always have a fly flying through the camera.
Yo.
Look at this.
Be on the podcast too.
Oh.
Maybe he lands on my hat.
It was about to. Okay, let's see what you...
I'll let it land on my hat and you can come swipe over here. There you go. Oh. Almost.
I ran away.
I don't see it no more.
Oh, it's right there on the
yeah,
floor.
you got
It's
it,
on the
you got it.
floor.
You got it.
Fucking slaughter it.
Behind you.
Behind you.
Behind you. You got it.
What is this turned into?
Yo.
Are we good? Is it gone?
Great.
I don't think there's no more.
But I was going to ask you, what's the difference between the 3s and the 4s? Because to me, they look practically the same.
Kind of. Tinker Hatfield is the designer for the 3s and the 4s, and I'm going to answer the question a little long-winded, so my apologies. But anyway, it's about sneakers, so I have passion for it, right? So the 3s are iconic in their own right because that's when the basketball shoes started changing. So the 1, as you can see it just looks like an 80s shoe, right? And then the 2s, no one even talks about anymore. They're trying to make it, a jump this year, but the 2s were designed and built in Italy because they're trying to make it more fashionable. But the 3 had the air bubble, right? Had the Nike introduced the air bubble, it changed the dynamic of the shoe. The difference between both of them is that even though the sole is similar in nature because they look the same, the 4 has a wing, right? It has a little wing that goes to the top, and you could tie your shoes, and it has a netting in the middle, in the midfoot area and in the middle of the shoe. The 3 doesn't. The 3 is completely leathered out without the wing. That's the difference. So but it came kind of near each other, as you could say. So some shoes kind of like on the 2, 3, 4, they look similar. They just changed some aesthetics of the shoe, and that's why it looks kind of the same. And I think they wanted to keep the 3 was so popular. It was huge, The 1 was huge. The 2 wasn't as huge for them. It was it was a failure kind of for Jordan at the time. They were trying something different, and then they came back, brought a designer called Tinker Hatfield, which is iconic designer, and he took off and designed your 11 that you talked about. It's one of his, when he created that, people were like, wow, because he put patent leather on his shoe, and people started going, back when the 11 came out, which was back in my day, like in 95 or what, people were going to their prom with their 11s on because that's where they went, because they had patent leather. So it was white and black and patent leather. So it was one of those things that was just iconic because you could just wear it anywhere. It's fancy, it's it's different. But he was crazy enough to design stuff like that, and say, hey, look, let's just roll the dice and see if people like it.
You think Jordan's the GOAT?
I was about to ask that question, Brian.
Oh man, you're taking all the questions, man.
Yeah, well, better, bro.
But the GOAT in what facet?
It's good though.
In basketball.
Like
Basketball.
Yeah,
LeBron James or
so I'm
Jordan.
I'm an old head, right? So I'm in that argument I have a lot with young folks, and I love to have it, right? Because it's a good argument to have. You could have just a discussion for an hour about that.
You
right?
could,
right? So Jordan's absolutely the GOAT, 100% in my opinion. And I'm gonna be honest with you. LeBron will probably have to be number 2 for a lot of reasons, in my opinion. But I would tend to put Kobe before LeBron. But I guess I'll have to wait for LeBron's career to be over. When LeBron's career is over, I'll see whether, for me, he's 2 or 3. He's not going to be 1, 100%. When J.J. Barrera could take you out in a series and you lose, right? And this is when he was the Miami Heat and we lost that.
The Mavericks.
Right? And J.J. Barrera took you out. You just can't. I don't care what else you do. You just can't. Jordan, that's never happened to Jordan. Right? Jordan was 6 for 6 in the finals. Well, you got a small guy that comes there and just completely takes you out. From a mental strength standpoint, he's had a lot of mental, breakdowns. You can. That's why I like Kobe and Jordan, because they're assassins. They're methodical. It doesn't happen to them. They go in there when their backs are against the wall, they strike. So even though LeBron's is more talented, no, yes. Talent-wise and physical attributes and just, LeBron's one of a kind of all time. But
sure.
I don't know about the GOAT. Now, that's a different discussion,
I don't think LeBron's ever gonna stop playing basketball, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. He's a monster.
I think he's gonna be like 80 and still playing.
Dude, he's just, I don't know what, 17, 18 years in the league, and he's still playing at an optimal level.
You're 19.
No, from that standpoint, he's the GOAT. And that standpoint, no one's ever seen what he's doing, ever. That's never happened.
We could have this argument all day, but I don't want to take it there. So
You really think LeBron's better?
I mean,
Yeah.
but like he said, like he's saying he's an old head, so he'll stand by Jordan. I've never even seen Jordan, so I'm like I can't come here, born in 2002, and tell you Jordan won back to back in 1996, and I saw it happen. I'm like, he's the best player of all time.
That's exactly, he hit the nail on the head, and that's the argument. That's why it's so true that, the younger generation is going to say LeBron. They should. They're watching him play real time. You know what I mean? So I understand that. So I watched Jordan play real time. I remember, the series. I remember 1992 when he won his first championship, and he was going 3 years, Detroit kicking their behinds, and it was like, yo, next thing you know, they get there, and you could just see all the triumphs, the times that didn't, things went bad. So all that, and then you start comparing, So I lived through that. Kobe comes in 1996 as a rookie, and you see Kobe's, maturity. And when Kobe first started, people couldn't stand Kobe. You know what I mean? So
Especially Shaq.
Yeah, Kobe, he was very arrogant, very, so people could, and he still was that way, but I think people just took a loving to him at the end of his career because he said whatever he wanted to say. He didn't hold back. People understood it. He respected him already at that point, and he was an assassin. He had the same Jordan mentality, which LeBron doesn't have. You know what I mean? And that's the thing. People are looking for that because that they fall in love with that because it's like, wow, it's really difficult to obtain, and that's what they say, you're a true champion. You have that.
Something I will say that I've seen people talking about lately is mostly in comparison to LeBron. He's 36 or 37 now, and he's still playing at this high standard.
Crazy, yeah.
That now, for example, James Harden, people are like, dude, what's wrong with you? But he's 33. So people are, I guess they're comparing everybody to LeBron. They're like, he's 37, he's playing at this level. They expect everybody to play like that. So like KD had maybe still KD, but sucked this playoffs. James Harden kind of sucking. Like that could be their age, but nobody really.
That's a great point. Yeah, that's a great. That's an amazing point. I mean, it really is because I didn't even think about it like that. But I was talking about that too. But I didn't even think about the age. But James Harden doesn't. His problem is he doesn't have the step anymore.
Yeah.
So Dwayne Wade had the same issue. Dwayne Wade fell so many times, and he, his like height came at like really early in his age, and like he was like 30, and he was already coming down because of his injuries. So that's where you have to develop something else in your game. You have to develop Ray Allen. That happened to him. Ray Allen, people, obviously, I'm an old head, right? Ray Allen, when he came out in college and he was playing in the early years, he was a slasher. He was a dunker. Yeah. People don't realize that because Ray Allen was a three-point shooter. Because he developed that shot knowing, hey, I can't be a slasher and a dunker all my life. I have some injuries. So it behooves you to be something different. And James Harden's always been the same player, And I think that's what happened with Dwayne Wade. And he was smart enough to go, hey, look, let's bring LeBron and Kobe here because I'm not going to be able to keep going as Flash, banging and slashing. His knees are already done, But he developed a good mid-game, mid-range game. He developed a game that was suited for him so he could go a little bit longer.
Yeah, LeBron is definitely one of the people who have done it best, like in the sense of like evolving their game and stuff.
The best. I mean, that's improbable. Who does that? He's still dunking like he's a 20-year-old. Who runs down the court and dunks and that. And he's 270 pounds or whatever he is.
Heavy guy.
What are you doing? It's like he's a big monster, 6'10" or whatever he is.
Yeah, he's like 6'9".
Running down the court, like that. And that's never been seen.
It's been great to see, especially what those three have done. Like the probably the three biggest names, Jordan, Kobe, and LeBron, outside of the court with their shoes. The three of them probably have the three biggest brands. Yeah. Although they're all like part of Nike, but the LeBrons, the Kobe's, and the Jordans, three of the biggest shoes. And just besides the shoes, what they've actually done for people, for communities, and Kobe winning, what was it? I think he won an Oscar or
I think he won an Oscar.
An Oscar. Mm-hmm. It's just great to see how they evolve off the floor too.
Yeah. Look at LeBron tries to do a bunch. I mean, I don't know if his movie career did good. That Space Jam things. I don't know about all that, but but he does a lot of stuff for the community. Like that's absolutely true. They do stuff, and Kobe, even after his passing, there's still stuff that's done through his his charities and stuff like that are done. And Jordan does a lot of stuff. Jordan takes a lot of heat because he's not very vocal and doesn't do a lot of things from a vocal standpoint, but he puts in a lot of money to help out stuff. And that's his own right, Everyone, he's not like LeBron and Kobe where they're in front of things as much. Jordan takes heat for that sometimes because he's more like, hey, look, I'm more political. So he doesn't want to get involved in subjects that have controversial stuff, That's what he's always been. But he still does his stuff, charitable, stuff. But it's funny you mentioned about the shoes, Basketball shoes, Kobe's and LeBron's were a lot more popular back about 5 or 7 years ago. They're not as much anymore. People don't really want to wear basketball shoes. They wear the Jordans as a lifestyle shoe per se, but it has to look lifestyleish. It can't look like a big bulky basketball.
Yeah, that's the thing. Especially with the LeBrons, they're very big and bulky. The Kobe's are a little bit more slim, but even then they don't look like the Jordans look nice. Like you could wear them out. You can't really do the same with the other ones.
That's because the Jordan Retros are what does that for you. Because the Jordan Retros 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which are 80 shoes, now they look cool per se, more fashionable in today's world. So that's why they retro them so much. So we're not talking about a Jordan 35. You're not going to wear that. No one wants that. It sits on the clearance section. For $89, $90 later because no one buys it.
It's my type of shoe.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what people buy, in the clearance sections. But the Jordan 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 11 and stuff like that, they're 80s shoes or 90s, early 90s shoes. Those are the ones that are popular. But I wanted to mention that because at one point, basketball shoes were the hype. LeBron, Kobe's, they were hype. But LeBron shoes sit as well. They don't really sell.
Jordan, the brand specifically, lately I've seen has been doing really well because like they had Westbrook and the Westbrook shoes were hideous, but these the Zions, they're doing that collab with Naruto.
Yeah, they are,
and they're pretty freaking cool.
I think the only problem is we don't know what's going to happen with Zion, right? So
Unpause. Now we're back. What were we talking about?
Shoes.
That is what we've been talking about.
Did you podcast?
I saw this thing with Magic Johnson and Nike, how they offered him a contract originally when he was coming up, but Nike didn't have the money, so he ended up going with, I guess it was Converse. And Converse, I think the offer was like $100,000, and Nike was like, well, we can't give you $100,000, so we can give you stock. And he denied it. But basically, apparently that stock nowadays would be worth like upwards of $1 billion. And that's crazy.
It's crazy. It's a crazy story, yeah. Which is there's more to that. So yeah, Phil Knight, I think it was Phil Knight, if I recall correct, met with Magic. They were trying to get like Magic to sign, But again, they didn't have, the money, like you stated. They were just an up and coming kind of company. Nike was just basically a running shoe company. They just did running shoes, and they were trying to get into basketball, and so they would go after athletes, but all the athletes wanted to be in Adidas and Converse. Those were the cool, shoe companies. So so he was listening to them, but he had an advisor who advised them to take the money with Converse, and Converse was sweet, had to wine and dine them, and the other guys were just meeting them at the local corner bar, Nike. But basically, that's what happened. But the cool thing about it is, 2 years later, same thing happened, and it was Jordan, and they were pitching Jordan. It was the same thing. They didn't have all that money. They had some money, and their money was a little bit more, but it was kind of the same. Adidas, Jordan wanted to go to Adidas. Jordan loved Adidas. Jordan wanted to go to Adidas, and the dad was the one that said, this is the one that gives you more opportunity, because they basically gave them the blank check in the aspect of saying, we're going to give you all this, and we're going to give you royalties. That's why there's a Jordan brand now. The reason there's a Jordan brand it's basically Nike owned is because they gave him royalties that became that later on. So people don't realize that it was the ability and the flexibility that they gave Jordan and his dad that pushed him. I'm sorry, his mom. This is the truth. His mom pushed him, because the story is always out there, to sign with Nike as opposed to Adidas. That was a lot more lucrative and a lot more appealing at the time, but you had more flexibility with Nike, and he saw more foresight. His family did. My apologies, and that's what ended up happening. And that's where Jordan's where he's at now. From the branding standpoint, when it comes to Nike, it's a crazy story.
Yeah, Jordan's a billionaire.
Yeah, he's a billionaire.
Yeah, by far, of course. But man, he has his own Jordan brand, but it comes from the royalties that started from that. Nike. So it could have been with Magic Johnson. That's what I'm trying to convey, that he didn't take that step. And I don't think Jordan saw the foresight either, so let's not give him that credit. But it was his parents that saw the foresight and saying, hey, if you're going to keep going and you have the opportunity, let's do it here.
I mean,
that exploded.
Either way, that's a big decision at that age, because even Jordan, he came in a little bit later in his career, but he was still young, like 23, 24?
Yeah. I think he was still young. I think it was probably 23 or something like that. Yeah. Jordan, but Magic Johnson came out in 80, right? 80, and then Jordan's rookie year was 84, right? Something like that. So.
Yeah, Magic won his first year. That's crazy.
Yeah.
With Kareem.
What do you think Kanye has done for Adidas?
Wow. A lot. So, a lot. That's a loaded question, because, Kanye's an amazing influencer. Let's put it out there. So people
is he? Like,
yeah,
amazing.
So
he's a little psycho.
Yeah, influencer. I'm not saying he's psycho. He's psycho.
It drives attention.
Yeah,
for sure.
Great marketer.
He's definitely, he's definitely out there, and he's definitely different, right?
That's a nice way to put it.
Yeah, he's just different. He's a different cat. But if an influencer, I'm going to go a little bit more, is that, before he signed with Nike, with Adidas, he was with Nike. Before he was with Nike, this was 2000 and, 2, 3. Kanye was really big in his career, right? And like he is now, but bigger, And what I mean, he used to be caught outside, and what he was wearing was Jordan 1s, breads. And that's where it caught fire. People started they wanted to be like Kanye. Kanye was wearing his cool stuff. He was with Amber Rose, and he was wearing his Jordan 1 breads. And anything Kanye touched turned into gold. And he was wearing that, and people wanted to wear it. Then he signed, and he has some stuff with Louis Vuitton. And just look to see what his Louis Vuitton Jaspers are worth now. I mean,
oh yeah, those are crazy.
Try to see what it's worth.
They're like what, 10,000
or something, whatever.
I'm gonna look it up.
They turn to gold.
What are they called?
The Jaspers.
The Jaspers, so Louis Vuitton.
I don't even know that.
Yeah, because it's back a little back. Now we're talking about 2004, 5.
Okay.
3, 4, because it's right then and there he signs with Nike, and it creates the Nike shoe. but he wants more leverage. He wants
If
more.
you're a 10.5, 14,300.
Wow.
That's how much.
That's what it's going for. That's not what it sold for at the time. You know, it was sold, I think it was $500 or $600, but what it's reselling for is about that. So he has influence. And going back, you know, he signs with Nike, which is the original question. With Adidas, is because he goes, hey, I want more flexibility. I want more. You know, I want to have my own, just like Jordan. So now he's with Adidas, but he has this Yeezy brand, right? He has this Yeezy brand outside of Adidas. So Nike didn't want to give him all that. You know what I'm saying? Nike was like, no, this. You're not going to have total control. He said, well, the hell with that. I'm going to go with Adidas, you know. And a bunch of designers jumped from Nike and went to Adidas, which helped the situation out. You know, his Adidas shoes completely, vastly different than what his Nike shoes are. At first, people looked at him and were like, these are like slippers. And he's like, what is this? Like, I don't think people really caught on to that at first. They were hating on it, but it caught fire. And he's done a lot for Adidas in the aspect that, you know, he's made it different. You know, he's made it, you know, like his shoes are different. They're not like your original Adidas kind of shoe, you know, and that's worked. And he's helped out others like Bad Bunny and others now that are within the Adidas brand. Jerry Lorenzo, which is a big fashion designer, which was Nike signed. Now he's Adidas signed, and he's about to, you know, put out his own shoe as well. So that's another kind of individual. So that's part of Kanye. Kanye's led that because now Adidas opens their doors to different individuals for designing purposes, and they're a little bit more flexible and out there with providing different type of shoes as opposed to your regular Adidas 3-stripe shoes.
Some of his shoes are also, I would say, very controversial. Like some of the look, the style, it's very.
Yes.
You have to be very into it.
Yeah, that's part of exactly that. It's funny. It's like a deja vu. I was having this conversation yesterday at the sneaker event with one of the sneaker individuals that I've met through Instagram. He's a physician. He's a doctor, but he's also a sneaker collector. We call him Dr. Jumpman. So I'm shouting him out here on the podcast. But he has an amazing collection. He hates Yeezy shoes, you know, and that's where we're having this conversation because I like some of them. I have Yeezys. I don't have all of them because there's some similar to what you stated that they're just so out there that I haven't crossed over to that. But I like weird stuff. I'm the same when it comes to stuff. But I already told you I like different things, you know. So if it catches on to me, it's not because of hype. I like it, but some of the stuff is just I can't even cross over. It's just so weird and different, you know. So you know, he does do that, but Kanye's a different type of dude, right?
For sure.
So there you go.
I believe he was going bankrupt before or after he signed to Adidas, and I think that deal really helped him.
Yeah.
Right?
I don't know. I can't talk. That's news to me. I didn't know that. So maybe that's the case. I'm not versed on that, but I will definitely look it up. You know, I'll definitely look it up. All I know is the intricacies behind what he wanted to do with Nike, and I was really intrigued by it as well because I really loved his Nike line. You know, it's fire. You know, he took basically. You know, it's cool because you talked about the 3, right?
Yeah.
And the 3, the Yeezy 1, it has the 3 sole. So he took that and he meshed different types of popular shoes and he put them into one.
The Yeezy one, are those like the Octobers and stuff or no?
Those are the Yeezy 2s, but they're similar. Look at the sole. The sole looks very similar to, it has the air bubble and all, similar to what the Jordan 3 is. If you look at the sole, so it's very similar. Yeah, the Red October, yeah, like that. That's the 2. He only released 2. He only had 1 and 2, and the Red October is actually released right at the tail end of his ending of his Nike contract. So his Nike contract was was over. He was done. He said whatever, and it was expiring, and they weren't going to release the shoe. So at some point they were like, we don't know, whatever. And people were like waiting for that red shoe to come out, whatever. Nike just finally said one Sunday at 1 p.m., boom, and just released it. You know, so it's a very popular day. You know, every year everyone talks about it. This is the X anniversary of this release because it was just a random release, you know, that happened without a shock drop, what they call it now. They didn't have a lot of shock drops before. There was always a calendar date, and that's what it was. And that was kind of his first of its kind, where they just shock dropped it with no one knowing. Hey, Sunday, 1 o'clock, you're at church or you're whatever. So, yeah. So that's what happened. That's what happened with that drop, you know. I still remember. I was on I-75. There was no reception. I was done.
I want to ask you, because I feel like this is, like when I think about the shoe community, I see this as like the holy grail, I guess you could say. Mm-hmm. And I want to ask your opinion on it and if maybe you have any stories about it. I can't remember the exact name of the shoe, but like the Back to the Futures.
Oh, yeah.
What are those called?
Oh, the Nike ones.
I
Yeah.
knew you were gonna say that.
The
bro.
self-lacing, like
Yeah, I have a lot of opinion on it. It's an Air Mag, and that's even controversial because they say why are you calling it an Air Mag if there's no air in the shoe? So the Nike Air is the Air branding that's there when the Nike shoe has an airbag inside the shoe. So there's no air inside the Air Mag. So a lot of people in the sneaker community, talk a lot of about it because they shouldn't be called Air Mag. But anyway, it's called the Nike Air Mag. Yeah. So it's a Back to the Future shoe. Obviously, that was created as a prop for the Back to the Future movie. Right? Yeah. It wasn't a real shoe per se. They just had to make it to look futuristic because it was an '80s movie based on a 2015 at the time, right?
Yeah.
And that's what the shoe's supposed to look like. So, but it was really cool. I mean, it always caught fire. And at some point, through the years, we're like, hey, it's ever going to release? And it finally released. I don't remember the year now, but I think it was 2000 and, I'm going to say 10. Maybe last 2000, where I was. Maybe it was 2008 or 9, because I wasn't in Miami yet, because I lived in Tennessee for a while. So I think it was at 8 or 9. The first batch of those came out. It was through auction, through eBay. And then they released the self-lacing one. So Tinker Hatfield, which is the designer that I talked to you about, he was the designer of that shoe. And he said that X amount of years, we're going to release a real self-lacing one, which goes back to around 2015 when the self-lacing ones came out. And the way that worked was it was a donation type of thing. So you just put in X amount of dollars to donate. It could be $1. It could be $20. It could be whatever. And they were going to select about 90 people to win the shoe. Whatever. It depends but you have to put a donation in there. And I say 90, 80 because there was 100 shoes made, but some of them went to local, some celebrities, whatever, influencers, whatever. So, but I think that there was probably around 70 or 80 or whatever close to that they actually handed out to winners. And story behind that is one of my good friends won. So his wife's, and he sent me the video. I was at work, and the way it worked is through Sneakers app. When you won, you get a video from Tinker Hatfield saying, congratulations, you won the shoe. He sends me the video. And he won the shoe. I have pictures of the shoe, because we went out and took pictures of the shoe.
Oh, yeah.
And the crazy thing about it, I'm going to put him out here. The crazy thing about it was that when it comes out, like a year or two later, it was just so hype. He got offered by some guy in Dubai. I think it was like $80,000 or $90,000.
Oh,
Jeez,
wow.
I swear. He had some offers, and no. I'm like, Jack, get up. No, Jack, what are you doing, B? Like, no, dale,
house.
right now. Like, let's do it. He goes, nah, bro, nah. Whatever. The hype went down. He ended up selling it for $25,000 to some guy in California. Oh, but he could have had 90 G's for it. You know what I'm saying? So he sold it eventually for $25,000. But man, he could have had 90,000, and like twice, because I think there was a couple of offers similar to that, and things were hot back then. Like, that first year, because for hype is at the beginning. That first year people were just crazy. And there were some people with money that were just going. They were offering. And the way you go by that is they hit up local resellers, individuals, and they say, do you know anyone? And that's the way it works. So we know he knew people that kind of came back and say, hey, look, for a size 11, there's people that are offering X. Are you ready to make that deal? And that guy was ready, said, because I was with him, talking to him, and it was through a legit person that was ready to do the deal. And anyways, that's my story behind it. But yeah, it's beautiful. It's a beautiful shoe. And the thing about it is, people ask me the question, well, if you had the shoe as a collector, would you have sold it? And the answer is yes.
Hell yeah. Give me those 90 G's.
Immediately.
You mentioned Bad Bunny, but you also got to look at the opposing artist, J Balvin.
Yeah, J Balvin. Yeah, I didn't get into. I love J Balvin's. I mean, I was gonna wear J Balvin shoes today actually, but I didn't want to be so colorful. I want you guys to get scared. But, I love the J Balvin and what's coming up. He has a release of Jordan 2. We talked about Jordan 2. It's not popular. They're trying to bring that motif back, that model, and doing things with that model. And he's gonna have a model. You guys, I've seen some renderings on it already. It's gonna be amazing. But yeah, J Balvin too, and J Balvin's it's kicking butt with that as well in the Jordan line. But as you can see, there's more than that. There's Travis Scott, there's J Balvin, there's Bad Bunny. I'm sure I'm missing some others, but there's individuals out there that have artists. They're not basketball players, and that's the thing. Now it's not just, it used to be basketball players, but now it's more than that. You know, it's art. It's music artists and other individuals have different influences that also, Billie Eilish as well has her own sneakers as well, Jordans and Nike.
I didn't know that.
Yes, she has some Jordans and some
the green ones, right?
Yeah, some Air Force just came out like 2 weeks ago with our own clothesline and everything, Nike clothesline.
That's very cool.
It feels like a little bit of competition, especially between artists.
Yeah,
because they're both like Hispanic community, but then J Balvin's like, I think he's a Colombian, right?
Colombian.
And then like Bad Bunny's more Puerto Rican, and then that creates kind of like a like fuel between them.
I'm sure, because again, I'm sure there's competition, professionally, music-wise, right? Because their music is, I guess, somewhat similar, right? I don't want to offend anyone, but what I mean is, similar nature, the reggaetons, rapping, kind of Spanish and English. But also now you also have the lines of fashion and sneakers, so I'm sure there's a lot of competition there. And I give credit to Bad Bunny because it's I would say it's easier for J Balvin to get a Jordan and make it dope because everyone loves Jordan. But let me tell you, Bad Bunny shoe resells and people go crazy for it, and it's an Adidas shoe. Like no one really does that unless for it's Kanye, right? And so it's interesting because it's hard to find. It's hard. I don't got one. And man, you would think, I've tried and I haven't been able to obtain one. I haven't got any. And people are like, you don't have a Puerto Rican, you don't have one? Like, yeah, I don't have one, dude. Like, I need to get one. But it's really difficult, so I give him a lot of credit because it's really difficult. J Balvin, but again, you're just putting your spin on the Jordan 1. That's not that hard.
That's why I mentioned Kanye, because I was like, Adidas, like, no one really rocks at Adidas, except you're rocking Kanye shoes.
Exactly.
And then Bad Bunny just recently had like a bunch of concerts sold out like this.
Yeah.
And his hype is insane. So that Adidas making a contract with him is like so smart.
Yeah, it's crazy.
They've done, listen, Adidas has done a lot of smart things and a lot of stupid things, so you know. So I think they've been very smart with the individuals they sign. Absolutely. They sign great designers, but they do a lot of stupid stuff. Let me explain. So there was a time in 2015, 16, when the Nike hype was coming down a little bit during the Adidas Yeezy signing. And there's a shoe called an Ultra Boost that people loved, and the Boost was taking off. And NMDs, Adidas NMDs, you couldn't even find them. Like, they were selling out. And Adidas took Nike market share, and they were kicking their butts for about 6, 7, 8, 9 months. And people were like, what? It was the whole thing. Are you gang 3 stripes or gang check? Because it was the whole thing. People were switching over, and why I say stupid is because they had the fire, but the designing kept being the same thing. They kept releasing Ultra Boost, the same Ultra Boost, the same Ultra Boost, the same NMDs, and people got bored. And Nike say, all right, you're going to do that? All right, cool. They go sign with Virgil Abloh, right? Virgil Abloh, and bring out the Off-White collection, and just, that's it. It's over. You're done.
No,
R.I.P. Virgil.
That's it. Yeah, R.I.P. Virgil. He and Nike wiped butts with Adidas right there. When that collab came out, it's done with, because Adidas was introducing what they call 4D, which is a 4D shoe, and that they prolonged that so long for over 7, 8, 9 months. It never released, and by the time that the collab with the Off-White came out, people were like, wow, and then attracted them back to Nike. Then they signed Travis, and now Travis, Virgil, and Adidas just went, eew. And then, you kept the Yeezy line. And by that time, the Yeezy line dropped too. There was a point that Yeezys weren't even selling. Like, crazy. It came back up right through COVID. But there was a time, remember, Kanye also started doing a lot of controversial stuff, right, with the whole Donald Trump and the whole thing. That whole thing.
Running for president.
Yeah, so that whole thing killed him. Plus everything with the line. There was a time where the Yeezy line dropped for some time too. People they would just sit there, and that was unheard of. We're like, what? You go to Foot Locker and you can find a Yeezy at release date sitting down. The first or second day, that was unheard of. Now you can't even do that. You couldn't do it at the beginning. There was a time you could, and then now it sells out like crazy as well too, because it's back to being, pretty sought after. But Adidas has done some stupid things as well. I don't mean to put it that way, but it's just I remember saying that's asinine. Like, you had them by the jugular. It doesn't mean you were never gonna beat Nike. That wasn't the point. The point is, I like to have competition, because when you have competition, you have better quality product come out, because now you feel like, okay, you have something competitive there. So people, when there's competition and brands, you get the better stuff that comes out. So that's what I wanted. I wanted it to be more competitive. And then it just felt like whatever. Now Nike just has a stranglehold on anyone. No one even comes close.
You also have Drake saying checks over stripes. That's what I like,
Yeah, you have that,
Yeah.
and Drake they try to put his stuff out there. It never really
But they also have a new one.
yeah.
But those are pretty cool though.
The new shoes that Drake put out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw them the other day.
Are they out? Do you know if they're out?
Yeah, they're
Yeah,
out.
yeah, they're
Oh,
out.
okay.
They're out.
Yeah, there's a
They
black and white pair.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's, I mean, like I said, it's okay. I mean, if you like it, it's dope.
Yeah, it's simple.
It's simple, but it's never really taken off as much that, he collabed with, DJ Khaled collabed with Jordan as well. He has like 4 or 5 Jordans they're going to release this year as well. So that's coming out as well. So now you have DJ Khaled. We talked about Drake, but Drake collabed with Jordan as well with a 4, but it did pretty okay. But I don't think he's ever been able to push the envelope like the Travis, J Balvin, or whatever.
And it's crazy because just how big he is.
Yeah, he had his OVOs. He had his OVOs. It was OVO 10s, OVOs, whatever it was. It was all the 10s, right? And yes, he had a few, but it never really crossed too much. And now he has the Drake shoes that you're talking about, which I don't remember the name. It was some simple white, black shoes. I'm not a fan.
Let me see where we're at. Let me ask you another question before we have to take a break. But we haven't talked at all about your social media, which is pretty big. And I want to ask you how you got into that and how you grew your following.
Yeah, so PR Sneaks 23. It's my was PR underscore.
Yeah.
Sneaks 23. It's my Instagram handle. So so it started out. I wasn't really big into social media that way. So when Instagram kind of came out, I remember people saying, "Oh, it's pretty cool. You got a lot of sneakers, and and then I started thinking it would be pretty cool to kind of have, like, believe it or not, this is the way I thought about it, a diary of my sneakers, an electronic diary of my sneakers. Because I have all these sneakers, but like whatever, like, I don't have anything out there. And the Instagram was more of a photo sharing app, which it still is, but it's a lot more enhanced and evolved now. But you just put it out there, and like you can see all the sneakers that you have. You forget that you have them because you have so many. And that's how I kind of started, just taking these low quality, horrible pictures, And little by little, I just got better at it, and it started kind of working out for me. I met some people, and I started taking some. I had time, I didn't have kids at the time. I was like, whatever. And I was taking pictures, and my quality started getting better, right? So my following started getting bigger because locally, but I started. Brands started to hit me up as a little bit. I started working with Champ Sports and Foot Locker, and I remember with Aces and Puma. I started working a little bit with them because they just started seeing my page and like, hey, we like your stuff. It's dope. Because I post a picture of their stuff, like Adidas Ultra Boost. And it was like, oh, cool. Sometimes I'll get them early because I just knew some people, so they're like, wow, you already have the picture? So they don't have to get a model to do it. So like, hey, look, could we borrow your stuff? And then we'll send you some stuff. And it just got that way. So I just got cool with the marketing people in those brands. And I would send stuff. And then my page started growing because I started getting stuff they were sending me, and I was just posting it. And that's how it worked out years back. I just started, like, growing my page. There was a time when my growth was just freaking, when Instagram was in its heyday, it was so easy to grow. Like, I was growing. When I started growing, it was bananas. It was literally, I would get, like, 200 followers a day, 150 followers a day. That's how it was, like, posting stuff. I was like, now it's horrible. Now, it's like, completely down the engagement and all that because it's just different. But back then, that's how I started just kind of with that. But it was huge because then the community that I knew locally was cool. But now all of a sudden, I had this thing where I had national recognition and people. I started, getting to know people from all over. I started traveling to SneakerCon and getting to meet people in different, locations. Washington D.C., Chicago, Seattle, all these places I would go. It's a sneaker events and just get to meet people, from those areas that follow my page, and I was like, wow, that's pretty dope, So I'll say it's like 2007, 18, 19, stuff like that. And so I, that's how I just kind of took off and went from there. And I evolved it and started wearing fashion stuff and sneakers and fashion because I love both of them, and started doing that. I don't know if I'm as engaged as I was on my page in years past. I still have it alive and it's still there. I'm just thinking of. I started doing the lives to go live about a year ago. I stopped it a little bit. I think I'm gonna start introducing that again at some point. I was doing it every Wednesday, So it's something that I have to change it. I'm going to evolve it a little bit, but that's how I grew it. Now I'm thinking about what do I do to take it to the next step and to the next level.
Yeah, I noticed now you do a lot of posts, but now, like, the only way to get engagement really is to do reels.
That's the
Yeah,
thing.
the
You gotta hop on that one.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Everyone tells me that, and it's true. But the thing is, you'll see some reels on my page, but you don't see anything compared to what you're supposed to see, right?
Yeah.
I don't have the time, so that's the excuse that I have, right? So, because to do reels, you gotta do them right. You know what I mean? So I'm always saying, like, my wife's always saying, you gotta do reels. I'm like, I understand that, but I can't just do a reel and just do a half. I don't know if I can say ass, but a half-assed reel.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been kind of low on my cursing. I don't want to.
I've noticed.
So I don't want to do that. So when I do a reel, I think it comes out dope because I'm putting time into it. But I have to do them a lot, like you said. Because before I'll post 3 times a day.
Yeah.
Now I put stale posts and they don't do anything. But if I build a reel, it works. Like it does well. But I have to do that, and you guys, the younger generation is easier for that because that TikTok thing. I don't have TikTok,
Yeah, that's another thing you should get on.
Yeah, see, and I don't have that. I don't jump on that. So the reels thing is what I'm going to jump into in the next few months. I'm going to start trying to do it a little bit more because it works for me when I do it. I just got to be consistent.
Let's take another pause. Unpause. Yeah, we're back.
Okay. So I got a question for you, and I got a question for you. Since we're talking about sneakers, what's the most expensive pair of sneakers that you have, and what's the most expensive pair of sneakers that you have?
You don't want to ask me that question.
I don't.
He goes for the
Okay,
$50
how
clearance
about
store.
this?
He likes
Listen,
to.
I don't do sneakers.
How about this?
I don't waste my money on that.
What's your favorite pair of sneakers that you guys own? Like your favorite pair?
I don't know. I own some black Nikes. Those are the ones I wear the most. But
Yeah.
I don't know what they're called.
My white Air Forces.
I think they're Air
That's
Maxes.
it.
I literally just got some Air Forces the other day.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh,
Simple. It's such a simple shoe.
Yeah.
Wear it for any occasion.
It's iconic. It's iconic. Uptowns, man. That's the history behind. There's a lot of history behind that, and it's crazy because it's an '80s shoe, and going back, like it goes out of style and comes back in style it does like a little turn every like couple of years, So, but it's iconic. It's classic, Gentlemen over there is wearing them.
Exactly those.
Yeah.
Right there. So it's easy. You can wear them with shorts. You can wear them anytime, whenever you want, man. So you do have some dope shoes. You see, you didn't even realize it.
That's probably the only one.
Yeah, they were really popular a couple years ago when Lil Baby started wearing them. And like you said, they go through. Sometimes popular, sometimes not. But I remember when Lil Baby started coming up and he wore them, they became popular too.
It's just they have their ups and downs, but it's cool because like some people the same thing. Like I have one of my best friends. He's like, dude, he's like, why are you buying so many shoes? He has like 2 pairs. They're broken down. He doesn't care. He's one of my good friends, and it's like people don't understand. Like when you're into a certain thing, that's your thing. That's like your niche.
Sure.
And certain people are like niches or something else. So it's kind of like it's interesting to see there. And then sometimes I like to dive into other people's stuff. Like I have a friend who's into knives.
Damn.
Why do you have all these knives? What are you gonna do with that, dude? No, but they're dope. You see, they model them.
They're made in Swiss.
Yeah,
something like that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like they're all like this. He gave me one. I have one. I have one at the house. I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing with this. I don't want my kids to see it. And they're customized. All customized. I'm like, that's cool. If you do that, that's your thing. Do it.
You mentioned your kids and you mentioned your wife earlier. I like to ask this to anybody we get on the podcast because Diego and I, we struggle with girls. We can't get girls. Could you give us any advice, man?
You can't get girls. You can't keep girls.
Both.
I should probably keep them, man.
He's struggling too back there.
I think it's because you guys just don't want girls.
Nah.
Meaning you don't want you want to be like in a serious relationship, which I wouldn't advise at your young age. Is that what it is? What's the deal? Like me, at the end of the day, that's it, man. I'm an old man. Like I'm good. I'm ready to settle down. But at your age, I would have settled down and just keep rolling.
Listen, man, there's plenty of fish in the sea, but we just can't get any on the hook. What would you recommend?
I don't know because remember I'm old head, so the old school way was just to go out, and meet people. But nowadays, I think you guys do it online and do it on apps or whatever you do, right? So that didn't exist back in my heyday. So I would say do the old fashioned kind of thing and just hang out with your boys, Diego, your peoples, and I'm sure you'll be able to kind of like catch a fish. But again, what do you want to cash? Something that's steady or something that's for now? Because that's the difference of whether you're going to go to a club or you're going to go, somewhere else.
To a library.
Yeah, right. So, you know what I'm saying? You go to your local Publix, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just all depends. What do you want? You know what I'm saying? You want a MILF? You want a mom? Or you want a younger one? You know what I mean? It's just what you want. What is it that you're looking for? And I would advise. But I would advise to just go out and do that as opposed to do it electronically. I don't think you're going to get a bet,
You have a girlfriend, right?
Yeah, 2 years now.
Good for you, buddy.
Yeah.
Man, 2 years. He kept them reeled in and it's, going. Right?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man? You're a youngster, man. Fucking 2 years.
Don't let her see this.
No, it's
He's
okay.
joking around.
Listen, it's definitely great. It's cool. I think when I was younger, I had a few serious relationships as well, but it is what it is. You kind of go through 2 years, a year, then on to the next ones. And I've had friends that been married since high school, So I know people like that. For years, they just kept their high school sweetheart or the people in their early 20s, But it just depends when you find the right one. That's why I said it. You just got to kind of go around and, if you meet someone that you have something in common with and you guys could, even on their worst times you could deal with, that's the key. Because you're all going to have bad times. Can you deal with that person on the worst times? Then that's the person for you.
Yeah, no, it didn't work out for us. Our high school sweethearts left us, so now we're here. We have each other.
Exactly.
You know what? Let's
listen. You keep your profession going, and eventually, listen. Why don't you have some podcasts with some ladies and maybe? Right?
Weren't you gonna?
Ladies' Night Edition. Ladies' Night Edition.
Weren't you gonna do? I don't know if it was. Who said it or where I saw it, but one of you guys wanted to like.
Oh, you saw? Yeah, we posted a clip.
Yeah.
We posted a clip. You know what OnlyFans is? Have you heard of that?
Yeah, of course.
We want to get an OnlyFans girl
Right.
on the podcast, and I was talking about it. We have to find one, and this guy just starts sending me any attractive female he sees. He's like, "Let's get her on the podcast." I'm like, bro, she has nothing to talk about. He's like, but she's hot. Please. This guy is. Get him some water.
You make her talk. No, but you should have a ladies' nights or a ladies' nights edition, and just kind of do that. And then maybe you can find intriguing ones, like an OnlyFans ones is good. And someone that just has something intriguing to talk about, and maybe
Perfect.
Whatever it is. It could be a bartender. What makes you an awesome bartender as a female?
We have boys episodes. Maybe one day we'll have a girls episode.
Girls episode.
Yeah.
I agree.
But,
See, you already have an idea.
Yeah.
We want to let's talk about you, but for a second, been going out a lot lately. You had those. I don't know what you had. But you were the club with 6ix9ine, and then the other day with the Island Boys. You want to talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, it was pretty crazy. For the night with 6ix9ine, when we showed up, basically we were there. Like we didn't show up because it was the same club that I was at with Lil Pump or whatever that I got on with Lil Pump. But with the club with Lil Pump, we were there for like a while. We were there for a minute, and he didn't show up till like 1 a.m. So we kind of went out and we were just out in Brickell area or whatever, just chilling until I want to say about 1:30 in the morning. And 6ix9ine showed up at 2 in the morning. I want to say he was there for probably 40 minutes, and bro, it was crazy. He came in with 40 people deep, all security, all his people. It was crazy. Couldn't even get near him, bro. There's a video that we're when he pulls up in his car. And we're walking up to him. It's a video. I'm gonna post it in 2 days or whatever. But it's no pictures, no. It was crazy. And another thing, what he did that Lil Pump didn't do was at the door or whatever. He didn't straightly go inside or whatever. He didn't walk inside. He literally stood at the door and looked at everybody that was coming in with him to make sure that it was actually his people and not somebody random, So it was the security for him, and that day it was crazy. They were really tight on everything because of him. They literally had a truck outside. You know those trucks that they have billboards on it, and it's kind of like a TV, and it changes or whatever. It's weird. I'll send it to you on my phone. But they had a truck outside of the club that it said there's a rat inside, and there was a picture of a rat with an X on it, and then it would change to his little cartoon that he has or whatever.
Yeah.
They put that, but a rat, and then the rainbow hair, and it said we don't want rats in our city.
Oh damn!
So
that's
yeah,
crazy.
somebody paid for a truck to just be outside of the club or whatever.
Not only that, they had to find out that he was there. So that's
no,
crazy.
but he posted it on his Instagram on his story, so it was
Yeah, it was
But
known.
he had to be usually. I mean, I know he's like with Steve will do it and like Nelk Boys and stuff. So we figured that he was gonna show up with the Nelk Boys, but yeah, no, that didn't happen because he actually like posted it on the story of his Instagram. So everybody seen that. So they had to be like really tight with security on that.
Steve actually did an interview. I sent it to you. I don't know if you saw it.
I think so.
But he was basically saying that he's done with 6ix9ine. Yeah,
I think I
some
saw a
shit
clip.
happened. He was getting death threats. He's like, once like like you do something and it starts affecting me, like I'm out.
Yeah, I feel you. I mean, hopefully, like they work things out because they were doing pretty
they're
good
hilarious.
Together.
They're
They're
hilarious.
really funny, man. Hopefully, they work things out. You feel me? Because they're pretty cool together.
For sure.
And yeah, actually that night, since we weren't with 6ix9ine when we got in, we were in this section, and I was actually with Malu Trevio. You know who Malu is?
Is that how you say her last name?
I think so.
Trevello? I thought it was Trevello.
I always said Trevajo.
I don't know how to like say it perfectly, but I know there's like a certain way. I was with Malu, and I was with Ronnie J. Ronnie J, you know who Ronnie J is, the producer?
That's the producer, right?
Yeah, the producer.
Oh my God, Ronnie?
Oh my God, Ronnie. Yeah, I was with Ronnie J. So that was pretty cool. He was like, yo, bro, it's good to see you, finally meet you or whatever. He told me this. He's like, look, he's like, yo, bro, I remember you back in 2018. You had like your hair was like bigger or whatever. Like you had the afro. Like, bro, I've seen you grow up so much. It's crazy, man. And that was like, you know, crazy coming from like one of my favorite producers. It's pretty insane.
Absolutely.
So
Pretty
That's
great.
good stuff.
yeah.
This is the second time you've seen the Island Boys, right?
Yeah, this is the second time. What was it? Was today Sunday? Yesterday was Saturday. Yesterday night, I was with the Island Boys. It
And
was
then
pretty
you're trying to become. I don't know if you've seen it on TikTok. You're
I'm
trying to
gonna be
become like the
sixth
sixth Island Boy.
I'm gonna be the sixth Island Boy.
Bro,
Hey, who knows? Who knows? Who knows?
Those guys are.
Well, you gotta cut the hair.
Yeah, you gotta
Oh,
cut the
yeah,
hair.
damn.
You gotta
I don't know
you gotta
about-
get tatted.
I don't know about that.
You gotta.
Damn, because that's the hair is kind of like. You feel me? I go anywhere, somebody sees my crazy hair or whatever. I know who that
staple.
is.
What's your
I know who
staple?
that
You
is.
can't lose it.
Yeah, you feel
Okay,
me?
well, that's a good way
So-
to put it.
But yeah, we got a couple pictures too or whatever in the back, and then it was crazy. They came on stage or whatever, had their security and stuff. It was crazy. It was a cool night.
For sure.
Did they sing one song?
They did two. They did that one song that
Yeah.
You know.
Island Boy, yeah, and then they did another one that they recently dropped. I'm pretty sure the song was called like Trina or whatever. But they did those two, and it was okay. It's on camera. I got
That's good.
everything, so I'm gonna put it out like on YouTube and stuff.
You making a video?
Yeah, I did like
Oh,
a
okay,
video on
that's
YouTube,
nice.
so I have all the clips and stuff.
Okay. I think we're not good to wrap.
Not good. Not
do you-
good. Because
what
I
do you
wanna
have to say now?
I wanna talk about a controversial brand that he's rocking right now. If you could see it right now.
Oh,
What do you
Supreme?
think it is?
Supreme?
Supreme.
Why are they controversial?
Why are they controversial?
They had a huge hype. Where has Supreme gone now?
How is that controversial?
It's controversial. Supreme had a
Controversial?
big hype.
They just
had
died off.
Supreme. They had Supreme Patty. Remember that guy?
Oh yeah, I remember.
The whole-
I met him back in like 20s.
Yeah, you were all into Supreme Patty. stuff.
Yeah,
Well,
he was funny.
Supreme is still hyped up. I mean, it's just, you know, I think that at some point, exactly what you stated, it was so mainstream, right? That everyone wanted to have Supreme everything, Supreme this, Supreme that, Supreme this, you know. But Supreme's still hyped up. You know, I just don't think it's at the mainstream as it once was. But it's still to the following and for the individuals that followed it, right? People still rock with it. They release every Thursday. They have seasons. They still do that. They still do awesome collaborations. They had a collaboration with Burberry not too long ago that was like fire, you know. So everyone knows the Louis Vuitton Supreme collaboration. They have several ones.
Yeah, that was fire.
So, you know, it was funny because Supreme started, I don't know, I think it was 94 or something like that, and they were just a regular little skate shop, small skate shop, you know, releasing skateboards and, you know, and...
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's how they started. They used to release regular shoes, just a small skate shop, you know, skateboards, you know, and, accessories for skateboards in New York. And next, you know, they started doing shirts and hats that say Supreme. People started buying it, and it just expanded out. You know, multi-billion-dollar company, you know. They sold it. They sold it recently as well. So they sold this to some big group. I don't even know their names, but I know they made a pretty penny. Yeah. But their
Maybe
stuff,
that's why.
since they sold the materials and the shirts and stuff like that, the quality has gone down now because now it's a little bit more, you know, it's wide open to these bigger companies. You know,
an investment.
So, exactly. So now you don't see that that love for Supreme, like for the original owners had it. But still hyped. You still see crazy stuff the ways before, but it ain't like the Supreme Patty days, like you were stating.
Yeah. One more thing. We didn't talk about it in this podcast, but I want to bring this up. You did a commercial with Foot Locker. What was it, back in 2018? That big commercial with Meek Mill, Juice WRLD. How was that? How did that come about?
That was pretty cool. So that came about. I mean, I have a relationship with Foot Locker, right?
Yeah.
And Champ's family, right? So, they told me they were going to have this commercial, and the commercial is yearly. They have a commercial, Foot Locker, where they focus on what's the tagline that they use? You see, I forgot the tagline. It may come to me, so my apologies. But they have a tagline every year that they focus on, and they do huge commercials. The year after was Bad Bunny and J Balvin. I wasn't in that one, but they were supposed to be in that shoot, but they weren't. Yeah, they didn't go. Actually, they were part of the commercial. They were just at the end of it. But then the following year, they had a bigger one as well. So anyways, in that shoot, they had Don C, Juice WRLD, Meek Mill. They had a bunch of individuals. And I got hit up. They're like, hey, look, we need people in the community that represent the sneaker culture. We're trying to get different individuals, different age groups, different individuals in different areas, women, men, skateboard, basketball players, individuals and just come in. So they had a bunch of us along with some, celebrities. And then also YouTubers, individuals that are like big in YouTube from the sneaker world, from the sneaker community. They had that because they had Kais and
Blazing Dairy
and all that, right? So they just put it all together. We're there for like 9 hours shooting,
That's crazy.
But it was a shoot that was just basically kind of like all of us just, in the middle of downtown, just walking, right? And just kind of like, all walking the same, all wearing basketball shoes, whatever, dope clothes, and just kind of walking through. And then, at the end, the camera stops, just takes a look at everyone so they can see kind of diversity, kind of like, and that's about it. But it was interesting. Got to meet all those individuals, There was the other guy that was pretty cool, the biker, not just Sylvester. What's his name?
I think so.
Not just Sylvester. He's a BMX guy. He's signed to Jordan Brand. Yeah, he was doing some crazy tricks there as well. So that was pretty cool.
So you got to meet Juice WRLD.
Yeah, I got to meet Juice.
I'm very jealous.
Very cool band. I mean, again, I'm not, like huge into his music, but I got bigger to his music when I met him. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, he was so cool. Like, he was so down to earth. He was talking to everyone, very chill. Like, all the others weren't asked that. He was really, really, really cool. He took a video. He took his own selfie of everyone, like, and posted on his story, and you could see everyone could see it. He did his own thing with that. But he was the most down to earth out of all the celebrities that I saw there, for sure. 100%.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
for
100%,
sure.
100%.
Yeah.
Definitely a big fan of that guy. But I hate to do this. The camera's definitely dying. So we do in fact have to wrap up. And this has been one of the longer episodes. So really appreciate you guys coming on. The amount of knowledge you have is amazing.
No, thank you. Thank you guys. Again, awesome questions. I've done several podcasts, and this is probably the one of the best or the best podcasts, because for the length of time, and the amount of questions and the series of questions and the engagement, was fantastic. So,
like I said at the beginning, #1 podcast in the world. But thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching.
Thank you guys for coming. Thank you guys for watching.
Oh, you're just mocking me now?
Yeah, because you said it twice.
So you like, comment, subscribe. Check us out on Apple Music, Spotify, TikTok, anywhere that we exist.
Not Apple Music.
Where
we
is
haven't
it
released our song yet.
And what is it?
Apple Podcast, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was the same thing. You guys did the idea. Thank you for watching. See you next week. Bye.
Peace.